Hey folks, this will be a short video. So I've run into some issues. I've been using the extended Walther teardrop shaped mag release on the Q5 steel frame for a while now. And I had a lot of issues early on that I was attributing to some issues with my grip fundamentals, but the more I use it, the more I dislike this mag release. I'm going to tell you why. First off, let's look at how far it protrudes from the side of the gun. So this is factory grips with some silicon carbide applied. You can see it sticks out a long ways. And you know, that's part of the appeal, right? So it's supposed to be really easy for you to hit. Well, first things first, when the gun is resting on its side, it really does not take much force. I mean, a fully loaded extended mag will do this to start to slightly push on the mag catch and can lead to mags dropping free. More importantly, the teardrop shape is designed to allow you to reach it with your thumb without breaking your firing grip. I can sort of do it in this upward position. If I rotate it any further back than this, then what ends up happening is my support hand hits this, and if my grip shifts even a little bit during recoil, then, or I get a slightly less than ideal grip, I drop the mag unintentionally, and that can be really, really terrible during a match. And I had a lot of frustrations with this. This caused me to bomb a couple stages at a couple different matches, even with it in this upward position. So what am I going to do about it? So I had a couple options. I could go back to stock. I could try to modify this in some way, or I can get really creative. So I decided I was going to ditch this extended button. And I thought, Walther does have the round extended one, but that still sticks out the same distance from the side of the frame. If you take the button off, though, you have some options. And what I landed on is I actually replaced the button with a CZ Shadow 2 mag release paddle. So I'm going to show you exactly what I did to make this work. So what I've done so far is I've taken the button off of the extended release, and you're going to see that it's, at this point, pretty much like if you'd taken the factory release and then milled a little bit around the outer edge and then tapped it for a screw hole. So this is what makes it a little bit difficult, because I'm going to go ahead and grab my trusty Shadow 2 mag release over here. This is my burner one, I guess I'll say. So the CZ one is not recessed on the backside for this round part, so you're going to have to put some sort of spacer for ideal sync up. There's no indexing pin like the CZ has to fit in that little indexing hole. However, the amount of friction that you can get on this with just tightening the screw down, that lever's not gonna, or that paddle's not gonna move on you as long as you got tightened down properly. So you can adjust it the full 360 degrees. So spacer is going to be needed, and the second thing that I recommend, you don't have to, is this is a button head screw. It's fine for this. This is not meant to take any sort of countersunk screw, but the CZ mag releases are. So you can see there, it's meant for a countersunk head. So if you get like the G10 buttons from LOK Grips, they'll send you a screw, but it is meant for the Shadow 2 mag release, which is I think it's an M3 screw, and this is an M2.5. So I went on Fastener Express. I found myself some M2.5 by 0.45 by 5mm flathead countersunk under the head Torx screws, and that's what we're going to use to attach the button. I got these little nylon washers about 1,000,000 years ago, and I have absolutely no idea exactly what size they are. Suppose I could measure them, but that would take all the fun out of it. Local hardware store, just find one that looks about right. You're going to notice when I put this on here that the hole is not quite big enough to go around this, so we're gonna have to widen it. But from an outer diameter standpoint, it is pretty much perfect for what we need. So all you really gotta do is just take a drill with the appropriate size bit and just drill it out a little bit. And then you'll clean up the outside for any flashing that happens. The more or less finished product, I'm probably gonna clean it up a little bit more, but literally just drilled it out a little bit more with a 3/16 drill bit, and then widen it just a little bit more with a rounded file, you know, it's a little small file set, and then you can clean up some of the edges with sandpaper or another file. And what you're going to want to do is have a pretty tight fit so that even if the button is not on there, it won't fall off the button. There we have the finished product installed. It's nice and level on here. You know, little bits of plastic that you didn't clean up good enough will probably just wear off over time. What you'll see is that the mag release can go in and out unimpeded by any of this plastic. It's about the exact same diameter or a little bit smaller. So we'll take one of our new screws, put it in, and then I'll show you what happens next. Now we have a problem. As you can see here, the button does not clear the grip, and this is actually the reason why the Walther release sticks out so much, is so it can clear the grips. In my opinion, Walther should have included an extended mag release from factory on these guys. This is a competition gun. I don't see why you would just go with the normal PPQ mag release. It's a nice size button, but it's not by any means the easiest out there to manipulate. So, with that being said, they don't have their grips cut for it, or designed with that in mind. So you are going to have to essentially create that recess for it. And you see I've done that already on this other gun. I basically made the entire arc so that I could adjust it to any direction I want without having to do any further modifications. Word of warning, these are factory grips with silicon carbide. I am going to use a respirator when I do this cut. The regular factory grips are polymer. If you've got LOK grips, for example, that are made out of G10, I don't know that I would do this cut. I'm just a little wary of what that material can do if you're not wearing the adequate protection. Something out of metal, I mean, that's obviously at your own risk as well. But just doing a little slight modification of these grips will allow this button to work just fine. So loosen enough that you can rotate the button through its full arc of travel, and then take like a silver Sharpie if you've got one, and what you're gonna do is you're just gonna like mark along the outside following the button as you rotate it through its arc. You can see here I marked off the entire area that I'm gonna cut out, and then I'm just gonna, well, take my Dremel to it and get cracking. So see you on the other side. And there's the finished product. I did a little bit of a better job on this grip than my first attempt. Figured out I could go a little bit tighter down here, but obviously we've created enough room for our mag to be able to drop. And that release is, I mean, just barely above flush here, but having that longer paddle on it definitely makes it so that my thumb can reach it without having to break a firing grip. So I'm really liking it in matches so far. Probably gonna stick with it for the long term. So hope you enjoyed this video. You can get these Shadow 2 mag buttons from LOK Grips. You can get the appropriate screws pretty much anywhere that sells specialty machine screws, but Fastener Express has Torx headed ones, and I prefer Torx over anything Allen key in literally every circumstance. So hope you enjoyed.